My name is Barbara Ost, and I have a story to share with the public that no newspaper would publish, so this is my only way to get it public. About 3 years ago, for the first time, we were in front of a woman named Judge Barbara Lynaugh, and my daughter was afraid to visit with her father. As a result, I was dragged to court over her resistance, and the judge refused any kind of forensics to get to the bottom of her fears and her problems. A law guardian by the name of Karen Bell was assigned to her, and her testimony was twisted around, and instead of helping my daughter, she made the situation a little worse of what it was before. As a result, these problems have followed us over the years. We have moved to Texas to get away from her father and his family. Due to the constant abuse, we were stalked, we were threatened, and my daughter was afraid, but to this time, at that point, I didn't know why. I figured one of the stepbrothers might have been doing something in the home, but again, I didn't know. I come to find out that it wasn't her stepbrother, it was her father. And because she was so afraid, she never wanted to open her mouth. I have summonses that came to my door from the state of New York. Her father lives in New Jersey and has for the past 6 years. So by law, he should not be allowed to petition through the state of New York, but he did. The first time he did it was in front of Judge Heather James. It was thrown out for lack of jurisdiction. So then he went to Riverhead Courts instead to get his old reliable friend, Judge Barbara Lynaugh, who grants every favor. Mind you, every time he's appeared in front of her, it's always been pro se, because he was always guaranteed of the outcome. The summonses that came to my door naturally have a stamp saying it was received by the court itself, that it went through the system. Then it has a second stamp to show it was served legally. That's how every one of them comes to anyone who has to go to court in New York. Here is the one that is going for custody. First it was visitation. There's no stamp anywhere on this paper because it did not exist. It did not go through the court system legally. Judge Lynaugh wrote it, signed it, and backdated it and threw it into the court saying it had been entered. When it never was, it was never delivered to me. Without a stamp, it's not legal, so it wasn't done right. I have letters returned from the Judicial Board of Conduct. Several letters. I have wrote them 3. Each time they wrote me a letter back stating they received my information, but I have everything that I have mailed with receipts to FedEx, whether it was a court, attorney general, or a judge, so they can never say they never got it. The Judicial Board of Conduct says I should seek further attorneys because I have run out of money, and I asked for legal aid through the state of New York since they claim jurisdiction, even though nobody lives nor works there. Their answer to me was that I should seek other options for attorney assistance, not to let it discourage me. Well, since New York won't give me legal aid, even though they claim jurisdiction, and Texas can't because the state's not involved, I have no way to get a lawyer. And then I have a letter from the judge stating that she will continue with or without me. She plans on signing custody over on September 4th to a man who has been molesting his child for the past 3 years and has been getting away with it. I have a letter as well from Judge H. Patrick Lease III. I wrote to him first regarding the misconduct of this courtroom. He had his secretary write back that there's nothing he can do and they don't get involved in these kinds of things. Judge Patrick Lease. Why do they call them supervising judges if they can't do anything? Then we put in a motion for dismissal based on all the facts, that nobody lives there, of what happened to my daughter, of her fear, and of the law guardian's misconduct as well as the judges. And it was denied. The motion to dismiss, the judge actually lied. She wrote herself in her motion. It says, visitation with the child. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. The parties have appeared before the undersigned, meaning Judge Lynaugh, no less than 12 times since January '06. That's a lie. It was 3 times since 2005. It says, Judge Shepard, the judge of Texas, indicated to the undersigned, Judge Lynaugh in New York, that she planned to take no further action, which was another lie. Judge Shepard's response was this. This is Travis County in Texas. Judge Shepard writes, my reading of Texas law leads me to conclude that New York could no longer retain continuing exclusive jurisdiction to make custody determination concerning Kayla Ost. In November 2007, when mother and father and child no longer reside in New York, when Mr. Gagliano filed his enforcement suit in New York, and later when Ms. Ost filed her modification in Texas, the child had no home state. Judge Lynaugh stated on March 20th, 2008, that she found the child and her parents had a significant connection with New York at that time the enforcement was filed. Yet she never said what it was, and that she intends to exercise jurisdiction to decide that suit. It says, I am aware of no pleading filed in New York requesting modification of New York's prior custody order. To my knowledge, the Texas court is the only court in which suit to modify prior order has been filed. And although the child had no home state at the time the suit was filed here, Ms. Ost and the child reside in Texas at the time of filing and continue to reside in Texas today. So another lie. She also claimed, Judge Lynaugh, that New York was the home state at the time that this happened. It wasn't. Her father's been in New Jersey for 6 years, and I'm here with her, so she had no home state, as Judge Shepard claims. It also states in New York, the child's parents, or the child and at least one parent or person acting as a parent have a significant connection with this state other than mere physical presence. Also it says, New York, if New York is the home state of the child, which means one of the parents has to live there, on that date of the commencement of the proceeding, or was the home state within 6 months before commencement of the proceeding, and the child is absent from the state, but a parent or person acting as a parent continues to live in this state. Well, nobody's been there for quite some time, so when all of this was done, it wasn't done legally. Also, here's a copy of a police report for Austin, Texas. When my daughter finally decided to open up, first, she opened up to a school therapist, and that's this report here. In it, it says, on the second page, at the bottom of the page, and I quote, at school, Kayla continued to report high levels of anxiety and continued to have nightmares. On several occasions, she expressed concern that her father would send someone to take her from her home or the school. In mid-May, Kayla reported 2 occasions in which her father had made inappropriate comments and looked at her in a way that made her uncomfortable. 2 weeks later, Kayla disclosed that her father had touched her sexually on more than 1 occasion. Also, there is another website regarding this judge for every parent, whether you're a mother or a father, it does not matter which. And there are cases beyond cases of people who have had their children ripped from them. Why? Because they're richer than the other parent. You use your mind and think about what that means. If neither parent has any money, she usually sends them to the mother. She has a pattern. Whatever parent has the